everything looks fine except for there's some unevenness in the background here, and then this line right here is not quite straight. So the first thing I'm going to do is open up the Liquify tool, and I'm going to straighten out that horizon line kind of area just really quick, and I just give it a nudge up so that it matches. Yep, that looks great. So before it was down, now it's straight. Great. Okay, the next step is a little more complicated. When I zoom out, you can very clearly see that there's a different color in the right hand corner than there is for the rest of the background. And I believe that's because that was a background edge that my editor patched up. But we need to do a little bit of a better job with painting over that area in a color that matches. So here's how we're going to do that. We're going to go to Select, Subject, so we can get a really nice tight selection on the baby. I'm going to zoom in, just make sure everything looks just right, and it does. Some of the hairs might not be in there, so we'll just be extra careful in that area. That's not part of where we're patching, so it's really fine. So I'm also going to add to this selection by hitting the Shift key and using the Quick Selection tool. I'm going to shift, and then I'm going to add the ground as well. Make sure I get all these little pieces in here. Now I have the baby selected as well as the floor that he's laying on. So if I look around, I really have a really good selection on the gray background that I want to work on. So what I'm going to do now is go to Layer, New Layer via Copy, and that's also Command J. And I had the wrong layer selected. Look at that. So I'm going to try that again. Okay, so now I have the baby and the ground selected. What I need to do is Command Shift I. So now I have selected the actual part that I want. Then I'll go to Layer, New Layer via Copy or Command J. And now I have a layer that's just the background, and that'll help make sure that I don't interfere with anything that's going on with the baby. And if I do, I can just erase it later. Okay, so with this background area on a separate layer, I'm still going to select it so that we don't end up getting any areas outside of that area, like painting over the floor or what have you. So now I have this layer cut out and selected. And now what I'm going to do is just simply grab the brush tool, which is B, make it nice and big, bring the opacity down to about 40%, 30%, somewhere around there. And I'm going to sample areas using the Option key. So I hit Option and then just start painting over. I do it in layers so that it doesn't look fake. And I'm extra careful as I get toward the baby just in case that selection is not perfect. I don't want to take the time to make a perfect selection just to do this quick edit. So already it's looking a lot better, but just to keep it nice and even, I'm going to do a few more layers here. And then I'm also going to go on this side and just add a little bit of layer over there. Okay, that looks great. So when we take it away, you can see how it was discolored before, and now we have painted in a new background. When you zoom out, you can see it looks nice and even in the whole background. And then the other thing that we did, of course, is we made this for straight here. So I deselect and I look it over and I see there's a little kind of something that I missed down here. So we're going to have to touch that up. Looks like that's on the bottom layer here. So that's some of the darkness left over on this layer from that blurry edge. So what I'm going to do now is flatten the image so that these two layers merge together. And that way I can use the patch tool and just kind of patch up some of this stuff a little bit nicer, a little bit less fake. Okay. There we go. anything else? Yeah, I think what I'm actually going to do is this. I'm going to take a selection of this whole area and then patch that from here so that it looks really nice and same. Okay, so now this side looks just like the other side. There's that little bit of darkness that was there. Patch this up to match. Okay, now that looks really good. I'm going to stamp this over all the way. Yep, that's it. So now we have a nice even background. The horizon line is straight. And now when I go later into Lightroom and add a vignette, it'll all be done nice and easily. So that's it.